This is our colonies and regions presentation. So first we're going to talk about the New England colonies. The New England colonies consist of Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. The first of all these was Massachusetts, when the Separatist Pilgrims came from Europe through the Massachusetts Bay Charter. And then the other colonies came around because of expansion and the want for full religious freedom.
New England political structures. The political structure in the New England colonies was very religious. The church made decisions, and only white men who were a part of the church could have any say in decision-making.
New England social structures. The patriarchal Puritan family meant that males had the majority authority. This was seen through things like the ability to participate. For example, adult male church members could vote for law and taxes. Literacy was taught to most children so that they could read and understand the Bible.
New England economic structures. Most of the jobs in the New England colonies were carried out by indentured servants, with the main exports being finished products such as woven cloth and metal tools, timbers and naval stores, and grain exports. Most of the exports were sent back to Europe to support the Mother Empire, which is a process known as mercantilism. The Middle Colonies. The Middle Colonies consisted of New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. The first to be founded was New York through commercial charter in 1625. Delaware was also settled through commercial charter, while New Jersey and Pennsylvania were founded for religious freedom and refuge.
Middle colony social structure. The Pennsylvania Quakers were people that wanted a free society and religious refuge. They banned slavery in Pennsylvania because in their religion they were against war and participation in violence and slavery, and had a tendency to create these things, like slavery had a tendency to create these things when the slaves would revolt. In the top right is an image of William Penn, who was a lead Quaker. There was also a lot of religious and ethnic diversity because many Europeans came to the Middle Colonies in places like New York and New Jersey.
The Middle Colonies political structure. The political structure of the Middle Colonies was split half and half, with the two political systems being royally appointed governors working on behalf of the crown and a constitutional monarchy that allowed the colonists to self-govern. The Middle Colonies' economic structures. The Middle Colonies focused on subsistence farming and exporting grains and furs throughout their many bays.
The Southern Colonies. The Southern Colonies consisted of Maryland, Virginia, the Carolinas, and Georgia. Jamestown in Virginia was the first of all these colonies.
The Southern Colonies' social structures. The social structure in the Southern Colonies was more scattered, as many people lived on large plantations and had their own small societies. Children were often homeschooled by other people that lived and worked on the plantation, and there was more power to women in these societies because there were less men. The Southern Colonies' political structures. Political structure in the Southern Colonies consisted of royally appointed governors and a representative assembly that was elected by the citizens, that being white men that were members of the correct church for the region, or the dominant church for the region.
Southern Colonies' economic structures. The headright system was first developed in Jamestown, which gives land grants of typically 50 acres after working on land in order to attract settlers. In addition to indentured servants in the headright system, African slaves were especially used in the Southern Colonies, and this was because of things like them being really good at working on rice farms. Now we are going to compare and contrast these different colonial regions and colonies. So first we're going to talk about crops. In New England, they had the Three Sisters, which included squash, corn, and beans all grown together. In the Southern Colonies, they had cash crops, which are tobacco, rice, and indigo. And in the Middle Colonies, they were called the breadbasket because they were fertile soil that was very good for farming lots of grain.
Education was similar in the New England and Southern Colonies because they both homeschooled their children. However, they did this for different reasons. In the New England colonies, children were taught literacy so they could understand the Bible, while in Southern colonies, children were homeschooled due to the scattered urban pattern caused by large, internally functioning plantations.
So in addition to crops and education, there were also similarities and differences in gender roles. In the Southern, there was more power to women. And in the New England and Middle Colonies, it was more patriarchal, which means that there's more power to men, essentially.
And for the political structure, in the New England colonies, it was more religious, government, which meant that the church was making more decisions, while in the middle and southern colonies, there was more royally appointed governors that were acting on behalf of the crown instead of on behalf of the church.
These are just a few of the similarities and differences between these regions. Thank you for coming to listen to our presentation.